Hello, televiewers. Good evening and welcome to Prime Hour on My Media Prime. This day we are going to be staying with the U.S. Senate resolution that was passed recently. We are asking the question whether anything is going to happen after the resolution, given that some senators are asking for practical steps to be taken to ensure that there is effective ceasefire as far as the ongoing war in the southwest and northwest regions of Cameroon are concerned. Now, we are also going to be looking at the situation of the hemodialysis center in Bamenda at the regional hospital. There was a planned strike action by patients yesterday. They had a meeting with the regional delegate for public health for the northwest region. We are going to listen to Dr. Cheso Kingsley talk. We also are going to take a listen to one of the patients who came out yesterday for that strike action. But we have information that some of the machines are already in Bamenda as we speak. We've seen videos of them being transported into the regional hospital out there in Bamenda, Northwest Regional Capital. We are in the company of Apostle Ambi Valentine Ngwa, who is in the house with us. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, viewers and Cameroonians of Prime Hour. It's a privilege again to be here tonight to discuss issues that concern our nation. We are happy because news just reached us that some machines for dialysis are being transported into the Bamenda Regional Hospital, and I think that's good news for a start. Okay,
we also are in the company of Prince Joel Mukage, who we are happy to have you.
Good evening to Mr. Leo. Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to all the viewers of My Media Prime, particularly to those watching Prime Hour now. Special good evening to those watching in the northwest and southwest region, specifically to the peace-loving people of Misaje and His Royal Highness Fon Thomas Kimbose.
Yes, we discussed about this Senate, U.S. Senate resolution the other day. You went through it and your first appraisal when you even heard that there was this resolution.
Mr. Leo, I'll begin by using the famous proverb that we have in Africa that if wishes were horses, even beggars will ride. We've had so many wishes from Francophonie, Commonwealth, British House of Lords, British House of Commons, American Senate, American Congress, AU, EU, and name it. All these wishes, like I said, if they were horses, even beggars will ride. My worry is not the wishes. My worry is not the resolutions. These resolutions have never become laws that can be enacted. I am so confused when I see American Senate keep coming up with resolutions and presenting about the Anglophone crisis. And there are some things I went through the resolutions that got me pissed off. First, they are asking France, being a major partner to Cameroon, to enforce strategies to see how the crisis could be solved. They are asking CEMAC, they are asking the U.S. Security Council as well as the AU. I wish to ask that France, is it not part of the U.S. Security Council? AU is a toy in the hand of France, because if the AU ambassador to United Nations, Arikana Chiomore, could be fired by a single word that came from Paris, I am very, very convinced that the AU is under the control of France, and France can influence its activities and decisions. Now, for America to come publicly and give such a resolution, America is barely or merely playing its role as the world police. It is very certain that if he keeps quiet, people will go on making noise that he claims to be the world power and he's saying nothing. I think he's playing that role to still maintain the name as the world police. What is so bad about it is that America has all it takes to stop the crisis, because the U.S. Security Council is America. The AU, America can influence. France itself, America can influence. But you see, America has a long-standing relationship with France since 1776, during the American War of Independence, where a man called Benjamin Franklin single-handedly negotiated the French government to help them chase Britain out of America and to give America its independence. That act done since those years have given a bond between America and France, that America can never jeopardize France's interest in any of the continents in the world. So I think that is just so-called political propaganda, just like what Joseph Goebbels used to do in the days of Hitler, that he will announce that Hitler had captured certain areas because Hitler had not gone. It will amaze you to understand that a man like Neville Chamberlain, who was a British Prime Minister, was a cripple. And he so much used, Franklin Roosevelt, he used the media in a dimension that you could hear his voice and you think he's in the field. So I think what America is doing right now is barely using its position as the world police so that people will not think that they are silent. A lot of activity have taken place in Africa. We saw the case of Rwanda in 1994, where almost 1 million people died. We had all kinds of recommendations, resolutions, wishes. And at the end of the day, it was a young man called Paul Kagame who rose up to stop the crisis in his country. I'm calling all Cameroonian elites to understand that these resolutions can take the next 20 to 30 years. It will never amount to anything. The same thing happened in Mozambique. It was a young man called Alberto Chisano that rose up to stop the crisis. The same occurred in Gambia. It was a young man called Adama Barrow that rose up to stop the crisis. I want Africans to tell us, in any country in Africa that they have had serious crisis or genocide, and some of these so-called world bodies actually came in to give peace. I'm yet to find out. Okay. That is what we have to be looking as far as the relation is concerned.
Anyway, we are going to look at some of the steps they have proposed, and we're making we're giving our impressions on them. You have the same feeling like Apostle Ambe?
Sure, Mr. Leo, I think that I share totally what Apostle has said. The first thing is that you cannot leave your house and expect strangers to come handle your problems that you're having. We're 4 years into the crisis, and we believe that we did not need an external force called America, called France, or any other country to tell Cameroon that Cameroon is suffering. The killings are there every day. Today we've had not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5. And in the northwest as well as in the southwest, it goes to tell you that there is problem in the house. And when you have problem in the house, you do not fold your arms and wait for people to come and start proposing what you need to do. Because when I went through the document, I discovered at one time the amount impression that telling France that there is need for a ceasefire. These are things that people, Cameroonians like Christian Cardinal Toumi, had already said long ago, even before the major national dialogue, that if you want people to sit down and talk, then there is need for the arms or to silence the guns. Let the guns calm down so that we can sit face to face, look at Apostle, and Apostle looks at Prince, and we talk. So I think that, Mr. Leo, we needed not fold our arms and wait for an external force. Just like Apostle said, you should know that the external world has never actually intervened in Africa for a positive note. They always come in at what time when they feel that their economic interest has been touched.
Yes.
A case in point, go to the Berlin West African Conference. The purpose of the Berlin West African Conference was very simple. Was because the Europeans felt that at one time they were clashing on different territorial soils in Africa. What did they need to do? Let us call a conference. So that we start telling our brothers, okay, France, this is where you should end.
Yes.
Britain, this is where you should end. Germany, don't go this way. Russia, you come this way. Now, so the whole thing is an issue of interest. And I believe that Cameroon, independence in 1960, and we're in 2021, even if it were a child that was born in 1960, that child is mature enough to handle its own problem. Because if you look at what is happening today, Mr. Leo, it's like you having a problem with your wife in the house and rushing to call a neighbor or calling your own parents to come and solve your problem.
Yeah, but you may be indifferent to the plight of your children or wife, and some neighbors or some uncles take greater interest in what is happening in your house.
Sure, they will take interest, but the issue remains that you remain the man of the house, and that any decision that are coming, they may just give proposals. Forget not that Shadrach Ambanasom, in his book Son of the Native Soil, was advising one of the characters inside. He said, don't ever let your neighbor know that your husband snores in the night. Because once you have your problem in the house, and you are unable to solve your own personal problems, and you start inviting external parties, these external parties at times may not actually give you something that will leave you out of the crisis.
What are you saying? Are you blaming the US for coming, or you are blaming Cameroonians themselves who have repeatedly organized protest march before the White House, protest march before the European Union, saying that, hey, our brothers and sisters are dying? What are you guys really saying?
What we are trying to make you understand is this: the Security Council that the US is referring Cameroon government to bring into play is the US. The Security Council is France. You can't be telling me to see you on an issue you can handle. It's bizarre. It's strange.
You only call it third party.
So the problem is, let us get back to Africa and take analysis of different crises that have occurred. When and how has any of these foreign bodies ever intervened? Recently in Ethiopia, the Tigray region decided to secede from Ethiopia. It was Abiy Ahmed that took upon the responsibility to launch an attack against the rebels to quell down the crisis. You go to Gambia, it was another one that rose up to fight. In Rwanda, it's the same thing. You go to Burundi, it was Nkurunziza that rose up to fight from 1989, 2005. So where are you telling me that these boys have ever come into any situation? We're supposed to have learned from history that these people have never come to help us in any situation. As I talk to you right now, in Uganda, elections will come up on the 14th of this January. They are using Robert Kyagulanyi as a young man to penetrate the recently discovered petrol, gold, and iron ore because they want to add Museveni. It is true, Museveni made his mistake as a dictator when he came to power. The fever of structural adjustment programs, Millennium Goals, and privatization caught Museveni. He privatized Uganda Airlines, Uganda Electricity Board, as well as the Uganda Commercial Bank. But now he has come to understand that these people were all manipulators. Now he's trying to stay in power to correct the errors he made in 1986 after 35 years in power. Now they have raised a young man called Robert Kyagulanyi who is coming in the name of the Messiah they want to use to do what? To extract. Museveni has refused EU from exploiting the discovered petrol in Uganda because he wants to be a refinery. They say it's not feasible, it's not possible. What is not possible? It's possible to extract petrol from Uganda without being a refinery there. So let us understand that these people have never come to Africa for any interest. So all these US so-called wishes, I mean, I'm tired.
Okay. You are tired. I want us to go because some senators have come out after this resolution to say that they want practical steps. So I would like us to look at the resolutions themselves. They say strongly condemns abuses committed by state security forces and armed groups in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, including extrajudicial killings, detentions, the use of force against civilians and non-violent protesters, torture, rape, kidnappings, and other forms of violence against women, and violations of the freedoms of press, expression, and assembly. Urges all parties to Anglophone conflict in Cameroon, including political opposition parties, to conclude and uphold an immediate ceasefire. How do we get practical in this? This is a Senate resolution. What are the practical steps that they want to be taken to get this done?
Mr. Liu, everything they've highlighted there is a summary of what is ongoing in Cameroon since 2016. We have extrajudicial killings from both angles. Yes. We know very well that when the Ngarbu massacre took place, the head of state, President Paul Biya, called for an inquiry that there should be a special commission that should dive into the matter. And the results came out there was a military. And we've also had situations like the 7 children were killed in Kumba, that it came out that it was the separatists. And the same case like what happened today, an explosion where people died. So when you look at it all through, there is killings from both angles. Now, how do we get practical? We need to get practical simply by applying the so many proposals that so many people have brought. I've had the opportunity,
including the proposals that the U.S. Senate is...
That's what I'm saying, that Mr. Lo, what they are saying here is nothing new. If you've had to talk with some of the personalities who are actually concerned, those who have given proposals on how to come out of the Anglophone crisis, will not have waited for the U.S. Because there are people, look at Cardinal Toumé for instance, look at Senator Kmer for instance. Senator Kmer is one of those who have said, okay, if you want us to come out of the crisis, let us go into the root cause of the problem. Because when you want to solve, Mr. Leo, there is what they call in conflict management. You do not solve a problem by looking at the branches. You start looking at the roots, because you should not look at what caused people to carry arms. We are 4 years inside. What can we do to come out of it? And Mr. Leo, on the 31st, which is just some few days back, many Cameroonians were very expectant, and so many people in front of their TV screens because they wanted that, okay, the president was going to say something that would at least calm down the tempers. There are two words I got from what he said. First of all, he authoritatively condemned, like everybody, the fact that separatists are killing people, and he applauded the military. When you have this kind of a situation, it's like adding more flames or adding more fire to an already existing fire.
To applaud the separatists?
Not applauding. It's not an issue of applauding. All of us are condemning what is ongoing in the field. Nobody is appreciating each time a soul is killed.
Let's get to the U.S. senators. They have come up with a resolution. They say they want ceasefire. Practically speaking, how can they cause the implementation of a ceasefire? Is it by making both sides to first of all agree to a ceasefire?
Mr. Leo, the U.S., I will tell you that the U.S. is a very powerful house. We should recall that if the Second World War actually came up, it was part of the fact that the U.S. came up with a policy known as isolationism, where they said, okay, we are not involved in anything. So the U.S. remains a very strong power. And that if the U.S. wants to actually influence, just like Apostle said, which I think to an extent they're just like playing, the U.S. can actually influence. But the issue, what we have here is this. If we had somebody of the ruling CPDM on this platform, he will tell you this, that Cameroon is a sovereign state, and that Cameroon cannot have laws forced upon Cameroon from an external power, which therefore means that at the end of the day, when you say two people that he says there should be ceasefire from both sides, who and who? It is the government that has the yam and the knife. Because, Mr. Leo, when you go, for instance, to Boya or to Bamenda, it is very normal to identify that, okay, this person is a uniform officer. But very difficult to identify a separatist, which means that you can even sit in a beer parlor, drinking or eating with somebody who will later on kidnap you. But when you sit with a uniform officer, you are able to identify.
Yeah, but we are talking about a ceasefire. Ceasefire means that both sides agree in principle that hostilities, we are ceasing hostilities, and it is not the soldier you're talking about. It is because the soldier.
It's a state.
No, I'm talking about the state, but I mean the Amber Boy. The Amber Boy is receiving instruction from a higher authority. Which means that the authority agrees that we are no longer engaging in
Mr. Leo, for them to agree, you and I know very well that during the major national dialogue, invitations were served to these separatists to come. But now they gave preconditions. And now, given that there are preconditions from both angles, there is now this problem of meeting.
No, but that is what we are saying. What are the practical steps that the U.S. can take to make sure that both sides agree in principle to ceasefire? Because they are also saying that we should agree, we should get to this without preconditions.
The issue is a man was caught raping his own daughter. The man is the head of the family. And as the head of the family, he's sovereign. But the police stepped into it because it was against the law.
Okay.
According to international law, when genocide is being carried in any nation, the United Nations, the USA being a body in that capacity, has the right to step in with the UN soldiers, since the two parties in question have refused to cease fire. Because this is not the very first time. Ceasing fire is not an explanation, it's an engagement. If they keep telling us to stop fighting and we don't stop fighting, someone has to step in between us to stop the fight. That shows that we may still continue fighting if at all nobody steps in between us. Yeah. So we are telling the US they should stop telling people to stop fighting. If they have refused to stop fighting, they should step in between the two of them and hush the fight.
Yeah, but how do we get practical another resolution say follow through on initiatives developed to address the grievances that sparked the conflict, including the National Commission for Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development, and National Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Committee. Following through, how do we get that to quell down the tension?
That is exactly where the challenge is, considering the decentralization process. The decentralization process that we envisaged from the Ministry of Decentralization is not what is applied. And that is the reason why it's a kind of cosmetic or shadow solution being presented to an actual problem. Talking about the DDR center is another procedure through which people have to voluntarily drop their arms. We are not compelled to drop their arms. Others have dropped their arms, others have refused to drop their arms, which shows that the strategy they are trying to use is not effective. If at all you keep on applying a particular drug on a particular sickness and the sickness does not get well, it's a clear indication that what you are using to approach that particular disease is the wrong drug. Either you upgrade the standard of the drug or you approach with another drug, which means the DDR concept is not effective because it does not solve the problem. The third thing they said was decentralization, DDR center, and what again? What was the third thing?
National Commission for Promotion of Bilingualism.
National Commission for Promotion of Bilingualism. Right, even at the Senate, when they brought up the issue of English judges going down to French-speaking regions to judge cases or French, it was fought right at the Senate, which means it was not acceptable. Now, why are you trying to give some particular kind of solution to problems that are not productive? Now, the truth is, if they have been able to engage these 4 particular strategies you are taking for 4 years, it has not worked, it's only a clear indication that something better off is needed to handle the crisis. So I think they should rethink their strategy, because why? If at all you approach, look at how America fought against Vietnam. America thought because of its sophisticated weapons, it could cross down Vietnam. But Vietnam had to set traps that killed 58,156 soldiers in America in 1954. That is to tell you that America, with its sophisticated weapon, did not have the strategy. It didn't lack weapons. But the weapons they had were not effective to stop them, to stop the war. So I think if the government has engaged all these DDR center, Commission on Decentralization and Mobilization, as well as the communication of bilingualism, it hasn't worked. If these things were to work, they were supposed to have given a practical solution before this date. This is the 4th year going on. Ask Paul Kagame what he used to stop a Rwandan genocide that caused the Hutus and the Tutsis not to start seeing themselves again as enemies. Because what happened in Rwanda is exemplary to what is happening in Cameroon. It's 2 different ethnic groups that hate each other with passion. So what did Kagame do to stop the Hutu and the Tutsi? Go there and borrow the knowledge that he used to bring unity back to the people.
Okay, the U.S. Senate resolution says they want the full implementation of the recommendations of the major national dialogue held late 2019.
Sure, Mr. Liu, the major national dialogue is gone and dusted, but its impact is still felt. If we talk about the DDR centers, the Bilingualism Commission, and several commissions,
No,
I think.
Commission existed even before
The major national dialogue. Yeah. Now, but one thing that keeps coming is the decentralization and the special status. I think these are the major fallout, and House of Chiefs. I think these are the major fallouts of the major national dialogue. But you always want to say that the objective of a decentralization that the president talked about was to bring power closest to the people, to ensure that power is not tied to Yaoundé, to ensure that the resources go closer to the people, that people are able to manage their own affairs. But now, looking at the decentralization, it has its own limitations, but for normal, because I just feel that it is creating more offices for people, and we don't actually see it
solving the problem on ground.
An antidote to the problems, because the governors remain and they are still supreme in the region. The SGO remains and is still supreme in a division. The GO remains and is still supreme in a subdivision. Now, what will actually be the roles of these regional councillors and the divisional councillors? It's very true that they have as objective to bring up projects and propose. But where do they have to propose? All these things, from every indication, have to go to the regional representative, who is a governor, which means that at the end of the day, we are still having a kind of centralized system, though it has been baptized decentralization. Because if we actually wanted to talk about effective decentralization, then the position of governors needs to disappear. Because
of course
it needs to disappear, because effective decentralization cannot be effective if the centralized power still has to control the affairs of the region.
Yeah, but where is the problem with that? Is the problem not with the constitution? Because that is what the law provides. The law on decentralization, that is what it provides. Isn't it possible to change that only with a new government? Because this government was voted with this under this manifesto.
A presidential decree in Cameroon cancels everything, Mr. Liu. The president amends laws. We should not forget that before the president came to power, it was 5 years. The mandate was 5 years for the president, renewable twice, I'm sure.
Yes.
But the presidential prerogatives made him to move from 5 to 7 years, which means that the presidential prerogatives can still make the president to say, okay, I want this position annulled, and that effective decentralization.
But that will pass through the parliament now.
Sure, Mr. Liu, it will pass, and we should not forget that it will pass through the parliament, and the president, that is the chairman of the CPDM, has an absolute majority. 140 parliamentarians for the CPDM means that if the president of the country, via the CPDM, wants anything to go to the National Assembly, automatically that thing becomes law.
Okay.
And that is why I feel that, Mr. Liu, the major national dialogue is gone. The truth be told, or still to the impact of the dialogue, because a majority of Cameroonians, both those within and without, were expecting that from the 4th of October 2019, when the major national dialogue ended in Yaoundé, we were supposed to have a drop in the killings, in the burnings, in the arrest and the demand of ransoms. But apparently it is increasing. That is why we're asking ourselves the question, where did we go wrong?
When you say kidnap and demand for ransom, was that part of the fight, the Anglophone fight?
It was not part of the fight, but you know that, Mr. Liu, in a war, people have a way of pushing through their agenda.
Take advantage. Another point says respect the rule of law and constitutional rights of all Cameroonians, including members of the political opposition, civil society, activists and journalists. But point E says allow for credible, independent and transparent investigations of all allegations of human rights abuses committed in the Northwest and Southwest regions. Do you think that this is very needed at this point?
That will be needed if only they want to sentence the individuals in questions who are involved in crime, heinous crimes. Carrying out such investigations right now without practically solving a problem is like washing your feet with socks on. That's the truth. Because what we have right now, we want the guns to cease. They should stop killing. That will help calm down the situation. Yeah, we can carry out these investigations only after we've been able to stop down the crisis, because you cannot be carrying investigation on things that crimes are still going on. For how long shall we continue to investigate when more crimes are still on the way? I'm even sorry to have started this program without paying homage to the sister we just lost, Kmer, divisional delegate of communication and more division. May her soul rest in peace. And I move my cap to pay homage of last respect for your departure, that your soul will rest in the bosom of the Lord. Those are some of the casualties that this war is bringing upon the nation Cameroon. We are losing our best. We are losing precious people. We are losing intelligent people. We are losing valuable people. I wonder the generation that will build this country, if I thought there will be peace tomorrow, because the brains that we're supposed to have used to construct this country, they are being wiped out every day in cold blood. I really feel bad for your departure, and I say may your soul rest in peace. But nevertheless, we'll keep on talking till changes come.
Okay, we'll keep up talking till change. Now, they go further to say, release all political prisoners and journalists currently detained, and immediately stop all arbitrary detention, torture, forced disappearances, deaths in custody, inhumane prison conditions, and work with the United States law enforcement to thoroughly investigate and prosecute of the Treasury and the United States Agency for International Development in coordination with other relevant federal departments. But do you think that those who are in prisons today, if they were released, something was going to change?
Sure, a lot of things would have changed, Mr. Liu. Before the major national dialogue, on this same platform, we had solicited and pleaded that you cannot actually want to dialogue. The word dialogue means a discussion between two persons. You cannot want to dialogue and you don't bring the real persons that are concerned. We want to feel that if Sisiko Julius Ayutabe was arrested because he said that he is a president of a self-made republic known as Ambazonia, there is no crime in bringing him to the dialogue table. We also propose that there will be no crime in bringing an individual called Mancho BBC who got up in Bamenda and felt that the town wasn't meeting the rhythm of other regions in the country. It means that if you brought these people on the board, if we are still complaining to them, Mr. Leo, that the major national dialogue has not achieved its main goals, it's because we saw the same faces, some of whom had even denied the existence of an Anglophone problem. You do not bring somebody who had said there is not an Anglophone problem to come and propose a problem to something he refused does not exist. That's the first aspect. If the Sisikos came to the table, if the Crise were invited, it's true they were invited, but now when you look at the statements, especially that from the Minister of Territorial Administration, a majority of them felt that if we come, we're going to join this our other border in the dungeons. But if these people were on the table, Mr. Liu, and they looked with the state actors face to face and gave their proposals, I believe that if today something did not come out, we'll have them to be blamed. Do not forget that after the plebiscite, Foncha and Amadou Ahijo met in Fumban. We had two people. That is why today we are still feeling that if something went wrong in Fumban, the person that we should be blaming is Jongo Foncha, because he actually led a delegation, and there were things that Ahijo showed him. It's true that later on historians want to claim that some of those things were written in French and as such he could not read. But why should you sign a document where you don't know what is inside? It means that Jongo Foncha had spoken with Ahijo. They said, okay, we are coming together again as one because we already won. This is what we think. Proposals came up, Mr. Liu. I believe that the delegation led by Foncha had so many proposals. One of them that Douala and not Yaoundé should be the capital of Cameroon, because it is easier leaving Boya to Douala, leaving Bamenda to Douala than going to Yaoundé. Those are some of the proposals they proposed. They also proposed that there should be the aspect of 2 stars on the flag. They also proposed that English and French should have that magnitude. Those are things they said. If today, Mr. Liu, we want to say that there was a major national dialogue, what were the proposals that came from the separatists?
Recommendations.
The recommendations that came from people who were already government ministers, who headed, because one of the commissions that actually had to do with the lives of Cameroonians had to do with the commission that had to do with decentralization. And I think it was headed by a former minister of forestry and wildlife, Professor Elvis Ngolengwese. It means that you have the same people coming back to propose for their people. But what else if you brought new faces, so that these new faces come and look into the government ministers, and the PM was the Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongote, and tell Joseph Diongote that, okay, this is what we are proposing. We feel that for the wars to drop, because you and I know very well in Cameroon that a majority of these children who have picked up arms, our brothers and our sisters, those who are kidnapping, they do not do these things on their own, Mr. Liu. Instructions come from the diaspora, and at times from those who are even in the dungeons. So if these people were brought to the dialogue table and their own voice is heard, maybe we'll not be talking about the killings today.
Okay, they say they want to engage the U.S. to engage in an ongoing effort to ensure that the crisis in the Anglophone regions is discussed in international fora, including the United Nations Security Council, that focus on urgent international diplomatic engagements and response, and urges members of the international community to to do the following. But 4 years after, should we still be talking about tabling this at the level of the United Nations Security Council?
I'm asking, the United Security Council is made up of who? That's the challenge we have here. Because they are asking France, they are asking that they should discuss it at the United Nations Security Council. America is the United Security Council, France is the United Security Council, Britain is the United Security Council. And all these things have been discussed in France, they have been discussed in the House of Commons, House of Lords in England, they have been discussed in the Congress in America, they have been discussed at the American Senate. These are all the bodies that made the United Security Council. If they could not respectively in their different House of Commons and Senate and Congresses discuss this issue, then who are they going to carry it to the United Security Council again? That's the United Security Council we are talking about. I saw them, they also mentioned the AU there. They also mentioned CEMAC. How do you expect a man like Idris Deby to come and solve a problem in Cameroon? When
Yeah, but
this
is the Senate. It's the Senate. It's like the Senate we have in Cameroon today, and the National Assembly that is asking the executive arm that please, we have diplomats, we have persons at different levels, that this is what we think should be done. This is the U.S. Senate that is telling
the authorities,
yes,
the executive arm of the United States of America, to get involved. But they talk about U.S. Security Council.
Yes, to take it to that level.
That's what I'm trying to understand, that the U.S. Security Council is part of the U.S. people, the United States.
Yes, but the Senate is telling them that this is what we want to do because we are representing the people.
Now, what power does these individuals have to take it to the United States Council more than the U.S. Senate? Because the Senate is a body.
But that's what I'm saying.
It's a body. Then how do they take they were a body? How would they take a responsibility and give in the hands of individuals? The politics there is very, very clear. It's very, very visible like crystal. They are taking something that they can handle unanimously as a Senate. Do you know how many members are in the Senate? Then a crowd will take a responsibility and give in the hand of an individual to take the U.S. Security Council. What stops the Senate from taking that thing directly to the U.S. Security Council?
That's not
what's the infringement? What stops them?
That's not how it works. The United States has an ambassador at the level of the United Nations Security Council.
So why don't they
at the level of the United Nations?
Why don't they take? That's what I'm telling them. Why did the Senate not take the resolutions to the United Nations United States ambassador to the United Nations and submit it there? They are asking executive.
Yeah, but
what executives?
But that's how government works. But the United Nations Security Council itself, are they completely ignorant of what is happening? Not only in Cameroon,
they should be.
do they need to be told that this is what is happening?
Mr. Lo, let me not cut you. I'm not interrupting you. When Mali kicked Abubakar Keita out of power, the next day, the United Nations Security Council spoke immediately and asked the military to go back to the barrack. I'm asking that what is stopping the United States Senate to get to the United Nations? Is Macron alone such powerful to take a case from Mali to the U.S. Security Council and convene a meeting within 24 hours, and then a whole body called Senate cannot approach the council? What are they? Do they think Africans are idiots? Or what are they trying to what impression are they giving to us?
Yes. But do we need to be told to do what we have to do? Because we are told that the United Nations was created to stop wars, to stop human suffering. Do they now need to be told to open their eyes into what is happening in Cameroon?
Not quite, Mr. Leo. The objective of the United Nations Security Council is to ensure that there is peace all over the country.
Of course.
Their objective is to ensure that wherever there is war, they step in and see how they can put the warring factions together. But a problem I have with this whole issue, Mr. Leo, is the fact that why American senators, when we have a Senate in Cameroon? When the Senate in Cameroon came, many people said, okay, we already have a National Assembly that many feel that is not actually, that is dormant. It's not actually being very active. And many Cameroonians had felt that the Senate was just another way of using the taxpayers' money. Because, Mr. Leo, since the Senate came to power, or the Senate in Cameroon, I am still to know one thing they have done. It is true that 70 were elected and 30 appointed by the head of state. I am still to understand. It's just at times you hear that the Senate met. I am still to hear one resolution that has ever come from the Senate House in Cameroon. What are they actually doing? Because before now, there is something I said, Mr. Leo. I said that a man whose house is on fire doesn't chase rats.
Of course.
We cannot fold our arms and be waiting for American senators to come and tell us you need to release political prisoners. It is not done. We cannot wait for America to come and tell us release, do not kill journalists. Still today, the family members of Samuel Wazizi have not seen his corpse. Those are not things you need to tell a government that is conscious. But all these things, I just feel that the Americans or the American Senate are just struggling to play the role so that the international community should also know that we were not dormant when there was a crisis in Cameroon. They also want to go down the annals of history. Some such as sometime, someday, just like we're doing today, it should be said that they too showed interest in the problem that is affecting Cameroon. If not, to me, it's just much of talking and nothing will come out of it. And I want to still urge our parliamentarians, Mr. Leo. We have 180 of them in the National Assembly. If a parliamentarian could hold the parliamentary house tight the way Weber Joseph did, I want to be sure that now we will not be here. If somebody at the National, or rather at the House of the Senate, could also come out very strong, like how people like Senator Kmer they do. I want to remember that when the special status came up, they chose people to go to the Northwest and the Southwest and sensitize. And one of them that were chosen was Senator Kmer. And I remember he said, I will not go and tell people what I don't know about. That is already putting the government to a tight seat. And I believe that if the 180 parliamentarians plus the 100 senators could press hard on this issue, we'll not be talking it today. Because we're discussing Americans today, tomorrow something is still going to come up. It means that each day, instead of looking for a way to solve our own problem, which is our own internal problem, we keep inviting external forces. I want to remember that Cameroonian ministers like BrigadeAntiSardinard have said that the problems in Cameroon can be solved by Cameroonians. What then is stopping Cameroon and the Cameroonians from solving their problem?
The problem in Cameroon can be solved by Cameroonians. Let's look at what happened today at the St. Joseph College in Sase. There was a fire incident today. We sent our cameras to the campus of Sase College to find out what happened. Let's take a listen to this by Moki Reagan.
I am at St. Joseph College, Sase, institution in Boya subdivision. It was about 9:30 a.m. that we have a fire outbreak in this institution. Behind me is the St. Martin dormitory, which hosts students of Form 4 and Form 5 of St. Joseph College, Sase. Reverend Father Armstrong D is the principal of this institution.
Well, we just wish to, first of all, accept greetings from St. Joseph's College, Sase. We regret to announce or to inform the parents, guardians, servants, the educational community, and well-wishers as well, of an unfortunate incident, in one of our dormitories, St. Martin's dormitory, at about 9:30 a.m. today, the 6th of January 2021. It was a fire incident in that dormitory. No human casualty, was registered, since all the students and teachers, they were for classes in the academic block, and so they were studying, so nobody was in the dormitory, so there were no human casualties. However, there were some material damages that were recorded, so the building and boxes and things like that of the children which were in the dormitory. So as of now, about a few hours ago, everything is now under control. And the students of that particular dormitory which was affected, they have been relocated to another dormitory. And so everything is fine. So we call on the parents to remain calm. Well, so far, based on the preliminary assessment that we have carried out, the cause of the fire incident is unknown. And it is still under investigation. So the cause is unknown. So we want to thank the administration, Sonara. They sent the sapeurs-pompiers here, and we thank the military and all those who were involved, to make sure that we put the situation under control. So that is exactly what happened here at St. Joseph's College, Sase. Thank you very much.
That is the situation. At the moment, some parents are taking their children back home to get some basic item for them to come back to school tomorrow. For My Media Prime Television, I am Jobere Gamoki, reporting live from the St. Joseph College, Sase.
Okay, thank you very much, Moki, for painting the picture of what happened out there at the St. Joseph College, Sase. Today we feel the pain of the students, and we pray that everything gets back to normalcy as soon as possible. We get back to what we are discussing in here. Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa, the U.S. Senate says they leverage bilateral relations to encourage key partners of Cameroon, particularly France, to help foster a peaceful resolution to the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, and implement a mutually agreed upon program to address long-standing grievances and marginalization. Now, practically speaking, is the U.S. Senate going to reach out to the French administration to make sure that they work better than what they have been doing to realize what they are proposing?
What are they going to make the French government again to do? They've already written it on the resolution. The French government must have read the resolution, and they actually know what the U.S. Senate is asking of them.
Yeah, but we are talking about saying something, and because other senators say they want practical steps.
That's the reason I'm letting you understand that America is playing its role as a world police. They do not want to be considered being quiet when a genocide is taking place in Cameroon. They are asking France to stand as a tool to preserve or to engage peace processes in Cameroon, of which I know very well that France has done nothing in Africa but to fan aglow war, genocide, and civil wars in most African countries. France has never for once in any situation in Africa resolved any problem that does not, for instance, secure its interests. America specifically spelled it out that France's interest, economic interest and security in Africa is primordial as far as their stay in Africa is concerned. So France has never, for any situation, they went and stepped up the genocide in Rwanda, and it was their interest that was there. As I'm talking to you now, the G5 Sahel region, which is Mauritania, Mali, Burkina Faso, Chad, are in serious chaos because of France's interest in that particular area. The Malians don't want France in their country, the Burkinabés don't want France in their country, the Benin don't want France in their country, and Macron called the G5 Sahel presidents and asked them that if they don't want France's interest in the country, they should go out. The president said they cannot allow France to go out of the G5 Sahel area. Why? Because the president stay in power because of France's security. So France has never solved any problem in Africa, from the north to the south, from the east to the west, from Algeria right down to Cape Coast, from Uganda right down to Nigeria. France has never solved. So for them to have said that France is a key partner to Africa and France can enforce peace, what peace? What peace process? When Idris Deby recently was saying that he is in power today because of two things. He met the country at war, and secondly, France's interest. That when they sent the constitution to be revamped, that he should stay in power, he refused. It was his associates and collaborators that worked with the French personalities that came there and changed the constitution. So when they are asking GRAT to take care of granules, it's a very serious problem. How can you entrust granules under the care of RAT? Definitely there will be destruction. So France is the last person that can engage peace processes in Africa. It's absolutely impossible.
Yeah, but even when its interest is threatened?
France's interest is not threatened in Cameroon. Is not in any way threatened. When their interests will be threatened, they will step down like they did in Central African Republic. When their interests will be threatened, they will step down like they did in Mali. When their interest is threatened, you will hear UN Security Council will call a case here. This case has not touched France. This particular genocide in Southern Cameroon has not touched France. You see, when their puppet was kicked out of Mali, France's reaction, France, the counter does not pretend or hide its temperament when its interest is touched. They knew that Abubakar Keita was the channel through which they could enter and extract the gold in Mali. And since these guys kicked Abubakar Keita out, they knew that their channel to enter Mali and extract the gold was at stake. Immediately, UN Security Council had to gather. That's why I call United Nations in Jangi of 5 nations. That others are playing, they are eating. Other countries who are in the United Nations are playing Jangi. France, Russia, America, China, and Britain are eating that Jangi. So I can tell you with all authority that the interest of France has not been touched as far as this Southern Cameroon crisis is concerned. When it will be touched, you will see the reaction.
Okay, it has not been touched, but they go further to say use regional and international fora including the African Union, the Economic Community of Central African States, and the United Nations Security Council to discuss the ongoing crisis in the Northwest and Southwest regions. You think that at this juncture, they're reminding CIMAC and the AU to play their role?
Sure, Mr. Liu. I think that it's a reminder that those blocs that are also concerned in Africa, it's time for them to step in and ensure that the crisis that has been rocking the two regions of Cameroon for the past close to 5 years now, because we're in 2021, for close to 5 years now, that it's time for they too to step in and give their own, chip in their own quarter of contribution. We should also recall that the separatists too, at one time, when they said if there should be a genuine dialogue, it should be done in a neutral ground, in the presence of a third party. So these people too could also be a third party in ensuring that the war comes to an end. But everything that we're saying here, Mr. Liu, all this thing is just proposals that the Senate is making. The person who has a final yam remains the country Cameroon, and he's the head of state. So much so that if he decides tomorrow, you may want to ask me how. If President Paul Biya decides tomorrow that the war in the Northwest and the Southwest region should end, it will end. It is because some persons maybe we are making gains from it and maybe are not informing or giving the direct information to the person, are misinforming him. Because 4 years is not 4 months, neither is it 4 weeks. The casualties that we have suffered in the Northwest and the Southwest is enough to tell any right-thinking person, even all those blocs, the AU, the CIMAC, and every person, to understand that there is something going on wrong in
like
Cameroon.
I asked for the United Nations Security Council. CIMAC is living what we are also living, because there is a direct impact when we look at trade between Nigeria, trade between Central African Republic, trade between Chad and Gabon, Equatorial Guinea. All of this, there is a direct impact. Are they unaware? Then looking at it from a general African perspective, we have trade between Cameroon and Nigeria, Ghana, and other. Are they not seeing? Are they not feeling what Cameroonians are feeling?
There is nobody. It will be dishonesty to say that there is maybe a country in the world that is unaware of what is affecting Cameroon. I believe that what is affecting Cameroon today, Mr. Liu, is touching all the aspects. CDC that used to produce, like Apostle said, we know that most of the bananas that we used to produce in Cameroon, we export them to France. Some of those things have died. CDC at one time folded up. They could not continue. And the number of lives that are killed every day, the Human Rights Commissions speak every day. They read us, and everybody, we know that there is nobody who is ignorant of what is ongoing in Cameroon. But I just feel that it is maybe the sovereignty of Cameroon, like most those of the ruling CPDM will always say, that Cameroon is a sovereign state and that it can handle its own affairs. What is then causes them not to come in and solve their own problem? 4 years or 5 years our inside is enough time for any right-thinking government to have seen a way to solve this crisis. Why? Because, Mr. Liu, the guys who are in the bushes, who carry out these actions, if they are just doing it to push an agenda, and the man who has a final say is the president of the republic, and if he decides tomorrow that there is need for the crisis to end, it's going to end. We have had calls from international communities who've told Cameroon that, okay, there is need for another genuine dialogue. From what they say is that the one that took place we did not actually meet all the canons of a dialogue. What stops the government from holding another dialogue that will bring all the parties together to see how we can come out of the crisis?
Yes, Apostle Ambi, is the African Union and the CIMAC sub-region completely helpless with the Cameroonian incidents, and do they need to be reminded by the U.S. Senate? And is the U.S. Senate also unaware of the fact that for more than 4 years these guys have been unable to do anything?
The truth is, like I said earlier, every bloc controlled by France is a sub-region of France in another continent.
Okay.
CIMAC is a sub-region of France in Africa. That's the reason why all the CMAC presidents are one way or the other guilty. You cannot have a peck of wood in your eye and you want to remove lock from another person's eye. All the other CMAC presidents are guilty of any other crime that the other party is committing. Most of them are dictators. Thirdly, they have overstayed in power. Secondly, they have overstayed in power. Thirdly, they marginalize and subdue their subordinates, which definitely makes each and everyone guilty. Secondly, CMAC is not like ECOWAS. When Adama Barrow had a clash with Yahya Jammeh in Gambia, it was the ECOWAS under Buhari's influence that stepped into Gambia and then brought out Yahya Jammeh and kicked him out. Is it Ali Bongo? Is it Obiangema Bazoko? Is it Denis Sassou Nguesso or Faustin Touadera from South Africa, or is it Idris David Okonda to talk to President Pobia? It's impossible, because why? They all are guilty of one crime or the other. And as long as their godfather France is the one, how do they make a president a dean of French presidents in Africa? That means it is an institution that has students and has a dean over them. I heard once that it was Idris Deby that was the dean of the president of Central African Republic, of Central Africa. So CMAC is just a name. Can you imagine that we have BEAC in Central Africa and we have BDEAC? BEAC is Banque de l'État de l'Afrique Centrale, controlled by France. We have BDEAC. BDEAC does not even have money. Banque de Développement de l'État de l'Afrique Centrale. That was formed by Obiangema Bazoko, Denis Sassou Nguesso and Pobia in Rio Sassou Nguesso in Brazzaville. That bank does not have money to carry out projects in Africa. Yet we have BEAC here controlled by France. How do you explain that our own banks created in CMAC does not have power than the one that bank France created? France created BEAC. African president created BDEAC. BDEAC is not even known. If you ask most Africans, they don't know BDEAC. But every African knows BDEAC. So CMAC is a sub-region of France in an extended continent. It doesn't have power like the East African community, where they can stand and tell this man stop this. In Uganda, they can stand in like ECOWAS in West Africa. They can stand and tell them to stop stop this. CMAC has nothing. To talk worst of it is that AU. If I begin to talk about it, they will say it's like I have a personal bitterness against AU. AU, first of all, its headquarters is constructed by Chinese people. I mean, Chinese people are building our own pride. How do you explain that a headquarter of African Union is constructed by Chinese, and then we are talking about Pan-Africanism in AU? It means we don't even believe with the African engineers. Then the AU has a president or a chairman who can be ordered by France to sack a fellow African who speaks against France's exploitation or France's exploitation in Africa, collecting $500 billion or euro every year from African countries. Then one word from Macron's mouth pushes Mahatma Faki to tell Irikana Chiomure, you are out of office, and she's out of office. Is he a secondary school, the principal, that dismisses a student at will, and begin to find out if these bodies in Africa are just chagrins or they are actually bodies? That's what the problem is. So as far as AU is concerned, CMAC is concerned, they should just bundle themselves and stay somewhere. It's East Africa that has a level of independence and West Africa. And you look at it, those two ends that are controlled by British. Yeah, but they are part of AU now. That's what I'm telling you now. When it comes to the AU body, it depends who is controlling. I've told you the people have influence over the AU. If a president in Europe can call the chairman of AU in Africa and orders him to sack an AU ambassador to the UN. But we saw what is happening in Central African Republic recently. We saw Rwanda went there now. Rwanda sent military forces to go and help defend Faustin Touadera. Rwanda may have its personal relationship. It has nothing to do with AU. Are Russians not there? There are Russians there. Central Africa is a country that must have created personal relationship with other countries. It's not coming under the banner of the AU. AU has not sent any force to secure Cameroonian forces in Central African Republic. It will be Faustin Touadera relationship with President Pobia. So let us remove that emblem AU on it, because I'm yet to find out the AU's function in the continent of Africa. How can ECOWAS be solving a crisis in West Africa when the general body called AU is there? It tells you how impotent, ineffective, and unqualified the AU could be. So let's be very, very cautious. After this U.S. Senate resolution, what are your expectations? You think that nothing may happen, or you want to see them move beyond just passing this resolution? Mr. Leo, the UN, I don't actually expect much that is going to come out of it, because
like I said before now, they just want to let it be said, let history have it that, okay, we felt concern for a country that was in trouble. Because the UN has the power, the military strength, the financial might to interfere in any country and make it come to an end when a war is concerned. But if we still have what is ongoing in Cameroon for 4 years, and we are in the 5th year, and what the UN can do for 4 years,
the US,
sorry, but the UN, what the US can do, haven't seen what is ongoing in Cameroon, is to call on the senators, the parliamentarians, and the different people to sit and talk. Then they are not serious. There is nothing that's going to come out of it. Why? Because if they actually want to do something, they'll do it. Like Apostle highly cited, we've seen the US implement their military strength, their financial might in other parts of Africa, yes, and it has come to pass. Why is Cameroon an exception? And all this is happening because maybe Cameroon has its own specificities, and we're still calling individually, I'm still calling on those powers that be, Mr. Leo, that we've had enough killings in these crises. It is high time we came out of the crisis, because souls are lost every day. We keep having things that we cannot explain every day. So there is absolutely nothing that I expect from what the US has said. We are expecting another communique or another talk in the days ahead that's still going to say that, okay, we had said this, they've not done anything, we are still expecting that they should do this.
Yeah, but at some point they're expecting that the US should go beyond just doing what they are saying, to start doing what they call target sanctions on individuals on both sides.
Sure. That's why, Mr. Leo, I said that the US has all it takes to ensure, to implement, to impose itself into Cameroon.
They should start sanctioning and not...
They should sanction, because let us even look at even the separatists. Some of them are right there in the US, some of them are in the diaspora, a majority of them are not in Cameroon. A majority of those who go on social media, without calling names, and fake glory. Like, I was shocked today to go on social media, and the lady who died in the Northwest, I was shocked to see some people who fall under the canopy of separatists faking the glory to have killed an individual.
Yeah, and that is we are still in shock. In fact, the whole day I was cold because
it's terrible.
Our class is in shock. She was my classmate in the University of where we did the training together for 3 years. So it's a
hard one. It's really a hard one. I saw how you were really down since the demise was announced. But so I'm saying that, Mr. Leo, that the US has a power, first of all, to start sanctioning those a whole while in the diaspora, and also tying those who are concerned in Cameroon. There are statements and ministers in this country have come out and said that the US should have sanctioned them. A case in point, look at what at one time Jean Didier Momo said. With a bottle of palm wine, drinking and doing a live video that went viral on social media, he said even if people die every day in the Northwest and the Southwest, it doesn't stop him from taking his cup of palm wine that is very sweet. It tells you that the US should move far from words to action. And if they move from words to action, maybe we may not have this crisis again in June.
Is that what we think?
Of course.
Instead of passing this resolution, they should
get to work. We've been singing about work. You see, things must translate from words, W-O-R-D-S, to works, W-O-R-K-S. Nothing in life can create impact if it ends up in words. Even in faith, they will tell you in church, faith without works is dead. They claim that you are a billionaire, you don't open a farm, you don't open a business, you will die a pauper. We are tired of hearing that we condemn, we are telling them that you should do this, you do that. The US should go into action. Let me give you a simple example. When Omar el-Bashir was tormenting the Sudanese, and there was constant fight in Darfur and Khartoum, the United Nations sent down 5,600 soldiers to secure peace in Darfur, Mr. Leo, because US had given Sudan a terror, that branded Sudan a terror sponsor country since 1994. It was America alone that gave Sudan that title, which closed off foreign investors and blocked everything in Sudan. When they sent peace soldiers to secure Darfur and Khartoum, It was not an issue that they sat in the United Nations Security Council. I'm wondering why they could react so fast in Sudan, because why? Omar el-Bashir was contrary to the European imperialism and American intrusion in Africa. So when their interest is jeopardized, like you asked me, that is France's interest not jeopardized? Have they stopped, has Perenco stopped extracting fuel? It has not. Tons of petrol are leaving the Bakassi and the seas in Cameroon and going to France every day. Timber is leaving the south every week to go. So things are still leaving Cameroon. Gold is still going out. So I think maybe say if the crisis in Cameroon has reduced 20% out of their 100%, they are not touched, so they are not bothered. But since Omar el-Bashir was a man that fought against imperialism, they did everything possible to send U.S. forces. Even when they wanted to withdraw the forces from Darfur, they wanted to remove 4,000 soldiers. The AU was the one that said the peace in the entire West was volatile. I want to ask, where are all those UN forces that landed in Darfur? Can they land in Cameroon?
Yeah, would you want an international intervention in Cameroon?
An international intervention to first of all calm down the killings. That is where the trouble is. Because I think if the United Nations forces enter Cameroon, they will halt the separatists. Even if dialogue is not in place, our problem is this incessant killing of people, taking away of human lives. It's a serious concern. We just lost a treasure of an intelligent, fine mind from an explosive, a beautiful mother of 3 children. Why do you expect those children to look up to tomorrow?
Yeah, but we have peacekeepers. We have peacekeepers in Somalia. It does not stop these guys from always attacking.
The attacks in Somalia, in Mogadishu, have not been that persistent since the UN forces penetrated there, and they have not been consistent as it were. Look at Central Africa right now. The rebels under Jotodia. Jotodia was the person that ganged up with the rebels to kick out Francois Bouazizi. Now he has lined up with the rebels again to kick Faustin Touadéra out. But the intervention of the Russian forces and the Rwandan forces has instead gone there to calm down the situation. The problem might not be 100% solved, but at least it will be contained at least 80%. If foreign forces come here, separatists will not kill, military will not kill. That's the truth. But now the nation is caught in between the hammer and the anvil. You go this way is iron, you go this way, you are blocked in between the hammer and the anvil, and it's dangerous. So we are calling on the international bodies not to just talk. We are tired of words. We need works. We need works. We need works. James 1:2 says, "Either hear the saying of mine and walk at them." He doesn't hear words. He hears the word and walks the word. That's what we are talking about.
Now, do you think, because probably there's going to be a change in power in the United States, will something change?
Sure. When I look at Joe Biden, the way he's coming up, his ideas, and what he's been doing so far, just a very short while, I feel that I envisage something may come out of him. Something may come out of him as change in Africa and the world at large. But there is one thing that is for sure, Mr. Leo. We must keep saying the fact that when your house is dirty, you will not wait until you have visitors before you clean it. You need to clean your house expecting that somebody can visit you. Cameroon is going through one of the toughest moments in the whole world. What is happening in Cameroon today is what they used to tell some of us, though we didn't witness it in the days of Maquis. Because the human flesh or human beings doesn't mean anything again. Mr. Leo, some of us are we have a kind of a system that even to kill a fowl at times is very troublesome to some of us. But if you see the way an individual, take the case of
lives are wasted.
Yes, if you look the way people are killed, take the case of Florence Ayafo, for instance, that somebody will take an individual, undress you, start slaughtering you as though you were a piece of God that was to be served for people to eat. And those things the international community is saying. And I feel that instead of coming every day and coming up with communiques, just like the Minister of Communication, Rene Emmanuel Sadi, has just done now, talking about what has happened in the Northwest region, so that when it comes tomorrow, another communique, let us leave out of communiques and start talking practicals. What happened that a convoy that was meant to go and install the geophone is attacked, an explosive, and 5 people die. What happened? What do we do to prevent such a situation in the future? What we should be talking, not about communiques announcing, because the world already knows. And I feel that, Mr. Leo, let us come out of paper. Just like Apostle said, let us leave words and go to action. If not, we are losing souls every day. And what is bad about it is that they are picking just the fine grains. Because you think a lady that is divisional delegate for communication, it means it's a fine brain. It's only the fine brains they are picking. And the majority, I'm not saying that it minds that when you kill somebody, it's like they need to discriminate between intelligent. No. Every soul matters. But if you look at those attempts who are being targeted by the separatists, they are just targeting those people that even if this independence are claiming to have, even if it's given, who are those who are going to build this country? You pick your fine brains, kill them, and tomorrow once you're given independence, who is going to cultivate? Who is going to build that nation of yours? So I feel that, Mr. Leo, it is time that we should come out of paperwork and let us go down to action.
Let us go down to action. What if nothing comes out of the international community? Because almost everybody says here that, oh, let's move, swing into action. Let's stop with just sloganeering. What should happen? We should take our destinies into our hands now.
Cameroon is a proverbial nation that is caught in between the devil and the deep blue sea. Once you are in between the devil and the deep blue sea, your destiny is in your hands. I'm letting Cameroonians know very well that la francophonie, as we used to sing in church, Babalawo go fail you, Mami Water Spirit go fail you. I want to sing it this way. La francophonie go fail you. Common word go fail you. AU go fail you. United Nations will fail you. The person that will not fail you is yourself. Until you take your destiny into your hands, I tell you, Cameroonians, you will keep rigmaroling over this particular challenge until every single soul is wiped out. When the children died in Gabo, it's like the whole nation was mourning. Everybody was bleeding. We thought after that incident, everybody will come back to their senses and practically take a step to put an end to this. No, not until a girl was butchered in Moyoka again. We saw how blood was spilling out of her neck like fountain of water. Nothing happened. Then we suddenly from nowhere, when schools resumed, our innocent angels were wiped out in St. Francisca's College in Kumba. And then suddenly now we are talking about our delegate of communication. For how long shall we continue to kill our own? And for how long shall we continue to hear people say we condemn? For how long shall we continue to say we are not comfortable with what is happening? For how long shall we say, oh Jesus, let it not repeat itself again? For how long, with all these exclamations of worry, surprises, and amazement, stop in this country? Except we engage into practical solutions. The church gathered on the 2nd of January to carry a peaceful march, which I applauded, I appreciated, but I think they should engage into what happened in the Orange Revolution in Ukraine, when the government decided to engage communism laws to strangulate the people and to frustrate them from having lands to inhabit. The people moved to the street, refused to go to their houses, and stayed in the street for consecutive 1 week. The mayor of Ukraine was forced to come out and address the issue. Cameroonians, it's time to go without food. It's time to go without dressing. It's time to go without bathing yourselves. It's time to lie on the streets and cry to God and to the head of state that we need an end to this challenge. Because I'm letting you understand from my experience and analysis as a political analyst in this world and in this continent, I can guarantee you that the proverbial saying that goes, any man for himself, God for we all, is practical in Africa and very visible. And it is time for us to take that proverb into serious consideration and know that it is us for ourselves. If we are waiting some angels to fly for some angle and land, it's a very big lie. Lastly, the United Nations and other bodies were created to secure the interests of European Americans. When the Catalonians or the people from Barcelona decided to break out of Spain to create their republic called Catalonia, the next day the United Nations Security Council gave peacekeeping forces authority to arrive in Catalonia. When they landed there, no single soul was shot. That it would take numbers of deaths in Africa in their thousands before the UN would think of sending a peacekeeping force. But unfortunately, there are many Africans working in the United Nations peacekeeping for the Blue Helmet. They are working in there. They recruit us to protect their interests. They don't recruit us to protect ourselves. It will be a shame for you Africans who are working in the United Nations peacekeeping force, and atrocities are taking place in Africa, and you are waiting for one European authority, American authority to send to come and protect the continent of Africa. I think it's time for us to get the bull by the horn, or else we'll be annihilated.
The crisis in the two English Anglophone regions has been a political matter. The Cameroon government has proven their incapability to handle its own problem. Two, the US is very much aware of the tragedy that has been befalling Cameroon for the past years. All they could do is look for a means to have a share of their own cake. Juviet is writing from Douala. A blessed land like Cameroon has been transformed into a slaughterhouse. Juviet, good evening. Good evening and Happy New Year, Mr. Kuma. Enjoy your choice of panelists tonight. It is abundantly clear that USA has little or no interest in Cameroon. Therefore, she cannot take the risk of forcing Mr. Biya to call for a ceasefire. The political will to call for a ceasefire must come from the father of the nation himself. He has decided to remain silent due to bad faith. Tabe Bisson, writing from Muya in Boya. I think it's only the government of Cameroon that end the crisis, and all the ceasefire speeches won't help, because they got no backup. And as I too can pick up my pen and write that I need ceasefire, time for speeches has long passed, and not it's time. Okay, Foba Roland is writing from Amanda. Okay. Stop calling, please. Good evening, Mr. Leo. My greetings to you and Apostle Ambe. I love your program because it is highly educative. Thank you. Pastor Bache says, Mr. Leo, the answer to the crisis is in the hands of France and Mr. Biya. Mr. Ayuk is in Yaoundé with Mr. Biya. What stops them from holding a dialogue on behalf of Cameroonians? Pastor Bache writing from Kumbade. Good evening to you all in the panel. Prophet Ambe is right, and it has not touched France in any way, because you go down to a village called Boua Balondo, the military are extracting gold there. All this while because of the war going on. Ernest is writing from Kumba. I don't know how true that is. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I have feelings that France has a strong hand in... Okay. Happy New Year, Mr. Liu. I love your programs, and greetings to the panelists in the studio. It was Henry writing from Kumba. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. This Southern Cameroon crisis is not an internal problem only. That's why the international community are coming in. If it continues, the Gulf of Guinea will be touched. Tatafe is writing from Douala here. Now, what can the people, what can Cameroonians do, what can the political class do to force the hand of the government if we think that, like he says, the international community cannot help us? Just to get a ceasefire and stop the crisis.
The political class.
The political class and the civil society.
Sure, Ms. Aliu, the answer, I believe, is very simple. It is coming out as one man and decrying. Because on the 2nd of January, we saw only men of God. And I believe that if it were collective, and at times we've always seen there is this force of women, they call them task force of women, something like that. But if we had a collective Cameroonians come out and say, okay, Mr. President, today, maybe a national day of mourning, today, Cameroonians, we are all wearing black because the killings are too much. We have suffered for long. Our children are not going to school. We've had our houses raised to nothing. We want the crisis given a deeper look, because everything that has been done about the crisis till now is what I call cosmetic views. So I think it's time that Cameroonians, because when you talk of the political class in Cameroon, it's, as of now, far from the ruling CPDM, I don't think that there is actually a political party that can actually exert pressure on the government. I'm saying so because the government has carefully, the CRM is a party that one would have said, okay, was there to revamp maybe what the SDF in the 1990s, but progressively the CRM is dying, and the government has its strategies. So I think that if the entire Cameroonians, everybody comes out and say, okay, we've had enough losses, it is time for the president. Because I said before now, Mr. Liu, that if there is one person who has a solution to the Anglophone crisis, I said it in 2016 and I'm saying it in 2021. If there's one person who has a solution to the crisis rocking the two regions in Cameroon, it is President Paul Biya.
Yeah, but when we talk of dialogue, you say the government alone cannot dialogue. We need two parties to dialogue. But when it comes to a certain pressure, the pressure is only on the government. Why?
Sure, the pressure is on the government.
We have an interim government. We have an ADF. We have these are all bodies that are giving commands to the guys that are fighting on the ground. If they are not recognized, why do you think that government should discuss with people that you think are not recognized?
It is not us who think they are not recognized. It's the government regard. See, disregard for a problem does not solve the problem. That is where we have a challenge. That I say Mr. Liu is a nobody, and Mr. Liu is giving me headache. I'm bringing myself problem. The earlier I acknowledge that you are the one giving me headache, and I face you. Because the issue is we are trying to play this separatist group as insignificant group of individuals that do not need attention.
Yeah, but if you say they need attention, and I am saying from every discussion here is the government. Nobody is saying that they should pressure them. Yes.
Mr. Liu,
are we also doing what we are accusing the government of? Yes.
The issue is simple. The government of Cameroon organized a major national dialogue. They did not seek these persons you want to call ADF or what interim government when and where they should organize a dialogue. The same government went ahead to bring about a special status and a decentralization. They did not seek anybody's opinion. It means that, and even the end of year speech of the president, it was clear and glaring.
Now, if I get you, you say it is the government that has to solve the problem.
It's the government.
Let us assume that President Paul Biya comes out tomorrow and says, I'm declaring a ceasefire in the northwest and southwest region, and that, okay, the war is finished. Is that going to solve the problem?
It will not solve the problem. It's a way towards solving the problem. Ceasefire, no, Mr. Liu, ceasefire,
it takes
ceasefire, no,
to solve the problem. Yeah.
Ceasefire. This is what I used to have, a very simple anecdote. You have two children in your house. One is your sister's child, and the other one is your son. Each time you keep money, you come, you don't see the money. Now you're lost. Can my son steal? Maybe it's my sister's child. To solve the problem is simple. Let your sister's child maybe go for a break for say a day or two, and you stay in your house and see whether you are going to witness the same case. One son going in the northwest and the southwest today, at times it becomes very difficult to authoritatively point an accusing finger, except that for personal gains, we have the separatists who come up and say, we did it. Because the military will never come up. Apart of saying we rescued, the military, no military.
Are you saying that the military posed the mines that killed their colleagues today? Is that what you are saying?
This is what you are not getting me. This is my point. I am saying that the separatists will take responsibility for killings, but the military will never take responsibility. What I'm saying is that if there were a ceasefire, like many have proposed, that the military returns to the barrack. Now, at any moment where there is anything that is ongoing in the northwest and the southwest, it is but simple. The killers are known. if there is a ceasefire, because these are the stages. These stages are not from us.
Are you saying,
those who took part?
Are you saying that those who took the chiefs of my 14, my 15, my 14, my 16, and my 15, they are not known? It's a military that did that.
There are separatists. It's true.
So the question is,
this idea of ceasefire to me is not withdrawal of military, because before the war ever started, the Cameroon government had stationed military and military barracks in the northwest and southwest.
Yeah, sure.
It wasn't the military that left Yaoundé to come to southwest that brought military in there. The Cameroon government has military barracks and even training centers in the northwest and the southwest. So withdrawal of the military doesn't mean transferring everything military from the north and southwest out. No. The ceasefire has nothing to do with withdrawal of military.
Yeah.
The ceasefire is, we are very conscious of the fact that people are being killed. People are holding gun that the law does not permit them to have the gun. And something pushed them to carry this gun beyond the law. Before this crisis came, those civilians who are carrying those guns were still in those regions, but they never carried gun. So seizing a fire is not seizing the gun from military, it's causing the man who carries the gun illegally to stop the gun. That is where the trouble is. Somebody is carrying gun legally because the state has authorized him to carry gun. Someone else has carried gun because something provoked the reaction. So we are seizing the fire. We are not asking the military to drop the gun or removing it from the northwest. We are bringing something that will cause the man that carry the gun, that is not legal to carry the gun, to drop the gun. That is what causes ceasefire. What's ceasefire? If I was working in Batiba as a military man and they walk in, I take my gun, I'm still at work. I didn't go to Batiba because of war. I have always been there for peace. So I'm still at work. Now, who is carrying gun that is not supposed to carry gun? That's the season fire. Who is killing the military that it was supposed to be protected by the military? That's the ceasefire. So the government should go and check who has carried gun, who is not legal to carry gun, and do what will be done to stop it from carrying that gun, because the military man has the right to carry gun all the time.
Yeah, but the president of the republic has said that they should drop the guns.
This thing that they said is my problem. This saying. What did you say before he carried the gun?
That's it.
Say what you said. Don't say something you did not say before he carried the gun. What prompted him to carry the gun? Do what you ought to do for him not to carry the gun again. Military will remain, even if they don't transfer any of those military from north to southwest. The military that is the north and south is sufficient to take off the crowd there. And those military are supposed to be protecting them from Boko Haram and other nations and other intruders, not protecting them from the same citizens. Now, it's funny enough that the military that was sent to protect the people, they are being killed by the same people. So what we talk about ceasefire, it has nothing to do with military using his gun or dropping. It has to do with the man that is carrying gun, that is not supposed to carry the gun, to drop the gun.
Okay, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, we look discussing our second topic for tonight. Welcome back. You're watching Prime on my Media Prime. It's not been easy with the patients out there in Bamenda receiving treatment at the hemodialysis center in Bamenda, the regional hospital Bamenda. The patients actually announced that they were going to undertake a strike action yesterday. They came out, some of them came out, and they were met by the Northwest Regional Delegate for Public Health. They had a discussion, and the Minister of Public Health also came out to say that he was going to send the required machines, 8 of them, to Bamenda to see how to salvage the situation after the director of the regional hospital announced that there was going to be a temporary closure of the center that was taking care of patients with kidney issues. And as we speak, we have videos coming from Amanda telling us that the machines have been brought in. We hope that in the days ahead, the center is going to go operational. Yeah, we have them on our screens there. We're going to be looking at this. I'll start with you. This is not the first time that this center is facing this problem.
Sure, Mr. Leo, this is not the first time that patients, not only in the Northwest, we've had this situation like this in Yaoundé. It's not the first time that patients need to take a strike action before their voices are heard. And the case here is a particular one because this dialysis you are talking about is something that's got to do with the kidney. And the kidney is a very important part in the human system. Those who are familiar with Nigerian movies will tell you that once they tell somebody that you have a kidney failure or that you need a kidney transplant, there is always this panic. First of all, where will the money come from? Even after having the money, who will donate a kidney? Now that we have patients who need to go on strike before the government gets to react, it's something that I did not welcome when I heard about it, because the doctor, before a doctor takes the decision that a hospital will be closed,
a center
will be closed, Mr. Liu, could this not have been channeled to his boss, Manauda Malachi of Public Health? Why will he take this decision? On what basis was he standing to say, I will, or the hospital will close? Now, when he takes the decision, the Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malachi, comes in and say, before 8 a.m., machines, 8 would have gotten to Bamenda. From what you're saying, from every indication, is this evening they are coming. And this, because the press had gone and got the different versions of the patients and actually watched a lady who was actually crying.
Yeah, but we're going to listen to a patient.
Yes, Mr. Leo, you know, those hemodialysis machines are machines that play the role of the kidney when the kidney has failed. The kidney is an organ of the body that filters waste. And once the kidney is dead, no waste comes out, from urine to excrement and every other thing in the system. So these machines are there to play the role of the kidney. Now, there are about 16 of these machines in that hospital. These machines started getting bad one after the other. The last 4 machines that were working also were getting bad. I was asking that if all these machines were getting bad one after the other, where was the medical director of the hospital until these machines got bad? Now, 65 patients come for hemodialysis in that particular hospital every month. The last machine that got bad before they said they were going to shut down the place temporarily, I was asking that where were all the technicians? Because technicians will either come from Yaoundé or Ebola to come and repair those machines. That's the report I got from the news. Now, 65 patients are coming to attend on one machine. How do you explain? That's the reason why you see when I take analysis from Cameroon and compare other nations, people don't seem to get the sense in it. It is very, very clear that a lot of medical directors cover a lot of rubbishes in hospitals, and that's the reason. There is something we call surveillance. Every minister must always send a team to go around hospitals and check how the machines and the patients are faring. If that is not established in Cameroon, we are in trouble.
But who says those reports were not forwarded to Yaoundé?
That if they were forwarded,
we had a similar situation in Boya, where the director explained how expensive it was to acquire those machines.
That's why I'm letting you understand that if at all the delegates and the medical director had given a report to Yaoundé and there was no response, they were not supposed to be considered responsible for any of the crime. Manauda Malachi recently, when he came to power as minister, he came to Nankantini here and he was not treated very well. The second place he went was Ebola, into a hospital, surprisingly took the nurses by surprise. When John Magufuli came to power in Tanzania, he went to the general hospital in Dar es Salaam. Most of the patients were sleeping on the floor. He fired the medical director. And then the beds that were in the hospital were bad. They had to do a repair. And then he said he gave 2 weeks for everything to be repaired. Within 7 days, everything was set in order. If at all strict measures were taken against medical directors in the country, knowing that it's a sector where human lives are put in jeopardy, I think most of the medical directors and their delegates were supposed to have been working. How do you expect 16 machines to pack down? When the first one got bad, what were they doing? Until it came to the last machine where 65 patients were attended to by one machine. It shows poor administration. Oh, we can't turn on television and say we talk. Is that not common sense that that you are in a house and bulbs begin to die, you will not change the bulbs?
Yeah, but if they have not the capacity to do that because those machines are quite expensive.
What capacity? That estate cannot buy a machine.
Yeah, but you see the problem of the director.
How did this one enter now? These 8 machines, how did they enter within 24 hours?
Okay, let's take a listen to one of the patients after they had a meeting with the regional delegate. We are also going to listen to the regional delegate.
Okay. Testimony to the fact that you have a lot of concerns and the government too on our situation. Sometimes we ourselves are very sorry for the medical team that is here, but the number is highly solicited in such a way that you wonder whether he may not collapse someday, because he's not only taking care of us here, he's consulting at the hospital. Secondly, this center is covering 2 regions, West and Northwest. We have to take that into account as well. Then we are not fooled by the social media. We have an organization, a structured association. Whenever we have a problem, the director will tell you. We have officials who come up to him to present the situation. When we get a feedback from the administration, we publish it in our association and give them the right, authentic information. It's just that this information should be available all the time when we need it. We spoke about the machines arriving. You and I know that these machines have a lifespan. Good planning would have envisaged their replacement long before time, not only when they all crumble. I think that for not being able to foresee that is a failure on our part as well. So we are pleading that at least now that these new ones are coming, we should already know that in this year they will be expected to be replaced and measures taken immediately. I want to thank the director of the hospital because he has been looking for palliative measures like providing us with anti-calium, which at least can keep one for a day or 2. I think that is a very good spontaneous gesture. It is not budgeted for, it is initiative. So we are happy. The only thing that we find a little wrong is, like the young lady was saying, when you put out communication has to be precise, it has to be clear. You cannot put out communication in such a manner that it is only you who can come now and really explain that this is what I meant by this. If you do not have this opportunity, you will not then know what you meant. So we are pleading that the communication should henceforth be clearer. We do not blame the government for not taking care of it. No. It's a big sacrifice. We even know there's a presidential project. And that is why we have had a lot of attention. We are very grateful and we are happy that you are aware that going to other centers is not a permanent solution and it's very difficult for many. So some of us have been here for a good number of years, nearly 10 years. So I know what has been happening in other centers. I went to Boya once and 2 days before they could receive us. So we know how difficult it can be to move. We are really pleading that your word, the government word, should at least this time shame the media.
Okay, shame the media. but we are just doing our job now. When you guys are in difficulties, you call us, and now when you go in front of our administrators, you say they should shame us. Let's take a listen to the regional delegate for public health.
I remember very well, so when I don't come to my office like twice, so then we go one meeting before, we talk about this particular hemodialysis problem. I don't read through the various placards, try to get an idea, the message when I try to convey to read, and I think so I get a better understanding now of my problem. Yes, we never commit crime. When person sick, you know, means the person don't commit crime at all. And sick don't be meant for some particular people. All we get sick for various magnitudes. And not to know it shows that some person will sick someday. When I get the impression so now be abandoned, but the answer now no. If we remember very well, we'll take her from history. At first, for this Cameroon, hemodialysis never been done at all. And if you needed hemodialysis, they'll send you for France, they'll send you for Britain. I think at some point, the health system decided to go into this in this area of medicine and try to provide some solutions to patients. The reason why this center will be created. The reason why 8 machines will be bought for this center. The machines are not simply for quite a long period. The two things I want to talk about the machines, and I said, one, it will be cheap. The machines are so expensive. I mean, we now understand say one machine about 20 million, 30 million francs. We know people pass government to buy machines for 20, 30 million francs. But we need to manufacture those machines in Cameroon. And therefore, for import those machines, not be overnight. It takes some time. I'm not saying someone will be angry, so we don't say one machine will work, we don't ask now for big patients. But I think say for doctor-patient relationship, if I will be frank, I know because someone will be patient, one knows the solution will come. I know because someone will be patient one way. Because I know the carpenter, I know the bricklayer, I be medical doctor. And therefore I know what to be kidney failure and I know what to be hemodialysis. I know how long I have to wait and I know how long I have to wait. Last week I was there for Yaoundé when the director called me and said, when I demobilize, problem will come up, and he write officially. Unfortunately I was there Yaoundé, and I'm meeting this time last minute day, and we'll talk about this thing. And the only way we be for mobilizing machines and fundamental, will not be one day affair, not be 2 days affair. If I want to get the right information as I stand here, the machines are about leaving Yaoundé to Bamenda. They don't be crying yesterday because I go down. The driver said they be crying by night to go down, they never crying by night. So he be fear. This morning, I did in constant communication with ministry to make sure say the machines land to Bamenda. These are brand new machines, state-of-the-art machines, machines where they don't before, they don't get problem today, tomorrow, after tomorrow. We know say we not ever get this center function optimally for the past 2-3 years. Now either na 2 machines they work on a 3, on a 4, on a we'll be very frank. You know that I say 8 machines will work and then we come from a station where we don't be struggle with now. And therefore it gets to be now a joy. Say at this point the 8 machines will be replaced for Bamenda. So I just still want, if I say exercise patience, not because say I don't know what it's going to go through. Now because I know say today machines that they arrive for Bamenda, they will install the machines and then they will start doing dialysis for everybody. I mean 8 machines, like ask me the question, 1 machine will be enough. Yes, 8 machines, it will be the 9th machine. It will at least fix off our problem. I mean even the prayer said if it be possible say the machines they leave last night, if we take the placard they go to see the machine outside. But unfortunately they don't leave last night because the driver said no, no master road. That will come back the accident on the machine for road because we don't know road. You better make travel during the day. So as we talk now, they keep off from their own day, so bring all those machines for Bamenda and for this hospital and for the installer to make it so that they can. But they don't take conservative measures. But at the end of the day, we don't get meeting them. We see and say, to go for other sectors, I know it be very costly. Because you go need for sleep, you go need for transport, you go need for church, you go need for, it's not easy. If I tell you that I don't refer you to France, of course, it's not easy to get to France. I will know when apply. We not say it's not easy. But again, make all we try to appreciate for 1 second the fact say at least sessions will be subsidized. This thing we know very well. Call any today for social media. Call anybody abroad, ask how much they do hemodialysis. At least government of Cameroon don't subsidize hemodialysis to 5,000 for a session. If we get our new machines, then we'll get our keep them. I'm not sure we will fall inside the kind of problem. It's not easy to solve problem. Even for house, when you say problem for house, it's not easy to solve them. It requires a lot of tact and it requires a lot of patience. Today, I think say our greatest enemy, now to be very clear, now social media. Our greatest enemy now social media. I don't read all kinds of them from Sunday to today. I get people they claim the law from the past we, all this stuff, when they need to sleep because they want to be healthy. It's easy to criticize, it's easy to talk loud. But I mean, they still wait for social media to see one solution, see something that never see one. To get brothers and sisters abroad, and get colleagues abroad, I've told them, we are back home, help us. If you have a machine somewhere, bring that machine to Bamenda, let us use it. What are they doing abroad? You leave Bamenda, you say they go for greener pasture, they go for work money, can't tell your people. You not be able to mobilize one machine for United States of America.
Okay, that was Dr. Cheso Kingsley, the regional delegate for public health, Bita, knowing that he was moving between Bamenda and Yaoundé, struggling to get the machines there, and all he read on social media was. But I think it was important for that meeting to take place assure the patients that were striking that the machines were on their way, and finally they are in Bamenda.
Yes, it's very encouraging the machines are in Bamenda, and we really appreciate the head of state and the medical team of Cameroon specifically for that gesture and the timely intervention, considering the complicated nature of kidney challenges. And I think that is a job well done. I'm just praying that the rapidity they use to solve this kidney problem should be used to solve the Anglophone crisis. It will help us because they equally have the solution to the Anglophone crisis. I think that act should be applauded, it should be appreciated, and kudos to the Minister of Public Health and the Head of State for such a wonderful and prompt reaction to the challenges of the poor in Bamenda.
Yeah.
Sure, Mr. Liu, I think that the timeliness in solving it is something worth applauding, but where I have a problem is the fact that they didn't need to wait till this far, because it went viral, like even him, the director said, it went viral on all social media platforms, on WhatsApp groups, on Facebook. It was all over, and I don't know why in Cameroon we need to wait for things to go to a certain level, because when you look at the patients, they already had charts, they already had plots where they had written things on it. It means that they were already ready to go for an action. And given that the kidney is a part of the body that within few minutes or few hours, if you're not taken care of, something disastrous can happen to you. It's good that they actually reacted timely. And if you listen to one of the patients, the part talked about something about the communication strategy. He said, when you have something that has got to do with so many people, Mr. Liu, you need to mind what you tell people, because when you're speaking to a heterogeneous audience simultaneously, amongst them there are people who are literate, there are those who are illiterate, there are those who are fat, there are those who are short. It means that the way you talk to the people, you need to be very conscious. Just yesterday, that the minister promised that these machines were to get to Bamenda. I'm sure they are from Yaoundé. And if you look at the distance from Yaoundé to Bamenda, and considering the traffic, at the very short notice, these machines are already in Bamenda. Now, what actually prevented these machines to have come earlier than this? Should the government, did they need to wait this much for people to want to go to the streets before they start bringing in a solution? Just like Apostle said, when you look at just this action, it tells you that there are so many problems that we have in Cameroon that at the twinkle of an eye, those problems can be solved. But what we want in Cameroon is when people take to the streets, when people start protesting, before they will start telling you, okay, you need to come and fill this. In companies, we have seen workers who take to the street demanding months of unpaid salaries. And it is only when they take to the street that the government now says, okay, we are aware of what you're going through, you can start coming. And related, something like this happened in the teaching corps, Mr. Liu, where we saw teachers of the basic education who felt that the way the recruitment was done, some of whom had served in the private sector as PTA teachers or as part-timers for a very long time, and were almost going through their retirement age, yet not recruited. They needed to take to the street before, via the president, to the instruction that he instructed the Minister of Basic Education, I want you to see to it that these teachers are recruited fairly. So I think that it's a laudable initiative, like I said, Mr. Leo, but my problem is one, that we should avoid sluggishness, delay in matters that are very important in the lives of Cameroon. Let us react. This thing will not have come out to the social media. You and I would not have been discussing it today had it not been that the patients were planning to go on strike. And because we were planning to go on strike, Yaoundé reacted overnight. And within few hours, the Bamenda hospital has machines. We are looking forward that other areas, other sectors in the country, Cameroon, are going to have an impromptu reaction to calm down, to quench the different tensions, to avoid what is ongoing in the country.
Okay, the machines are in Bamenda. Watchword is taking care of them so that what we are experiencing or what we experience should not repeat itself.
Yes, you could hear what the delegate said, that it's not easy solving problems. It's easy to criticize, and it's not easy solving problems. And they were not telling lies, because he is not a carpenter, he's not a bricklayer, he's a medical doctor, and one of the ethics of medical science is to be open and transparent to your patients. And he equally said that they had only one machine at a particular time, and they told there was only one machine functioning. But by the grace of God, 8 machines have come now that are they are brand new machines, and they are going to work for a period of time. From the news I got also was that he said the machines were not constantly working all the time. 3 sometimes will be working, 4 will be working, 2. They will bring technicians to arrange it. The problem is they also should learn how to manage the newly bought machines and keep them intact. I think they should be able to give instructions to those who are managing the machines to follow the protocols needed to keep the machines so they can last for long, because a lot of lives depend on those machines as far as Bamenda and West region is concerned, because he says the hemodialysis center Bamenda covers Western region and the Northwest region of Cameroon. So proper care should be taken to these new imported machines, and proper attention should be given to these machines so that they don't get bad so soon.
Okay, but proper attention, these are guidelines or instructions that could be given, but from what you said earlier on, there is need for constant monitoring
of course
from superior authorities,
yes.
so that
things don't get neglected.
Mr. Liu, you know that at Maya there is a newspaper in the country that at one time they did an investigative story where private vehicles that were given to government officials were used for transportation, where people actually were using it for public transport. I feel that the machines are there already. Like he said, these machines cost a whole lot. 30 million, it's not 30,000 francs, it's not 300,000 francs. It's much money. And for the government to cough out such a whooping sum to ensure that its citizens, because from what he said, these things have been subsidized. Because if these patients actually needed to pay, I doubt if 2 or 3 amongst the so many patients could afford what it takes to have a treatment of the kidney. It costs so much. So the government comes to its citizens and subsidizes it and makes sure that they can have it at
very cheaper cost.
A very cheaper cost. He talked about 5,000 francs, which I think is money that is commensurate to curing maybe typhoid or malaria.
Yes.
But now the issue is there should also be a follow-up kind of committee that ensures that these things are not misused, because we have had persons who misuse government property. At times, when we use things in our country, Cameroon, Mr. Leo, it's as if people just do it that it is not my father thing, let me use it for the time being. So much such that when I'm not there tomorrow, let it be that I've used it. Because these machines are the machines that are going to take care of so many lives. And I just believe that we trust the medical team. The medical team is a call that I respect very much, because unlike some of us think in the quarters, a doctor is not just any person who goes and does maybe a 2 years somewhere and comes out with an HMD and you say he's a doctor. No, a doctor is a profession that is very, very demanding and very discreet too, because there are those people that they know very well that Prince is suffering from this illness, but by the ethics and the deontology of their profession, they will not tell any person. But each time you come, there are people who have HIV and AIDS, and no doctor will go and say, okay, you see John, you see Peter has this. They are very discreet. So I think that they should keep their professional ethics at the level of maintaining these machines that have cost the government so much money in acquiring.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu. Once more, quite an interesting program, but you got me laughing when you pick out the media aspects of the interview. Keep up doing the good job, as mine are being touched through this media. We hope the government came up with a good strategy that will end of this crisis, which is claiming much life in the country. Charles is writing from Limbe. Good evening to you, my brother Charles. Why have we decided to use our country like a Bollywood stage, Mr. Liu? Why didn't the delegate inform the director he was in Yaoundé to bring the machines? Che Ismail. Okay, Che Ismail. Michael from New York, you see, special greetings to you, Michael. We can talk after the program. Gildas from Bamenda, good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Liu and all tables panelists. The government of Cameroon is playing a very schemy and comfortable game as at the benefits of the whole gang of economic vampires. Okay, the message is too long. Greetings, Mr. Liu. I think the pastor doesn't understand the concept of ceasefire in conflict resolution. Ceasefire has nothing to do with who's carrying guns legally or not. Ceasefire is only to stop killings and humanitarian catastrophe. Asking the armed groups to lay down their arms is as a means of ceasefire with the military still around. They will never work. Asking the military to move to the barracks is the most logical thing to do. Oh, Collins from Douala. But what do you tell the armed groups to do also? Good evening, Mr. Liu. I really think some of these panelists talk as if they do not know the history of the two nations called Cameroons, okay? Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to the panel. I would want to know what has become of the prayer initiative that was announced some weeks back. Agnes is writing from Kumba. We are waiting for it. Okay, I'm Joshua from Yaoundé. Thanks, Mr. Liu. I'm now happy the way Apostle Ambe is talking. Keep on, big brother. God will see us through. Excuse me. Good evening, Mr. Liu. The government does not stand the chance at this point to solve the problem. If the government withdrew the military, Ambazonia will celebrate victory. So it is difficult. The both sides have to call for ceasefire at the same time. Okay, Lapana Tasha writing from Cyprus. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Bravo to the panelists for they are doing a great job. They have actually said it all. The real problem here is that the powers that be, national and international, are aware of every detail and what can be done. Amos is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening. I like how the man in in the studio is talking. Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu. Mr. Liu, I'm Samba from Tombel. I love this program, especially when Apostle is on board. Good evening, Mr. Kum. Love your program. Apostle Ambe says time for talk is over. So I think if the action could start from the studio, it will be good. Happy New Year to you. Good New Bartholomew. Writing from Boya, we have to end at this juncture. Prince Joel, thank you for coming.
It's always a privilege that we come on board, Mr. Liu, that we give our own modest contribution towards nation building. Cameroon is our only country that we have. Special good evening to those who took pains energy to wash in the northwest region of Cameroon, particularly to your namesake, Kum, the general manager of Blue Pearl Hotel in Bamenda.
That's my cousin, eh?
I didn't know. He told me that is yours. Okay.
Yes, it's my cousin.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kum. Thank you, Joel, for working with me today on this platform. It was a wonderful contribution. My heart goes to the family of the delegate whom we lost in the Momo division. I really feel bad for the family, and I pray God sustain you in this trying moment, and also encourage you to go through this very, 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 very difficult time. I also want to extend greetings to Gobegza students, that's Government High School Bojongo Excellence Association. We're going to be having a meeting on Saturday the 9th at the SS Club Bota Limbe at 10 a.m. prompt. Endeavor to be there. Make sure you don't miss this program. God bless you.
Okay, we want to say that our sincere condolences to the family of Beki Jeme Iyabo, the deceased divisional delegate for communication for Momo division. We want to say we are sorry for your departure. She was my classmate. The entire class is devastated after we got news of her demise this morning. We just pray for the repose of her soul. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.